And there's people who are 40 years old, but whose body is behaving like an 80-year-old. They can't touch their toes. They can't run. They've just got an acceptance mentality of I'm 40, which really is fucking stupid, because if you put some attention on it, you can be 40 and feel like you're in your 20s.
100%. Bro, I reckon one of the questions we get asked most is, what is Mantastic? What do we do? How is it different? What would be your view on that?
I think essentially 10,000-foot view. We're a program for men in business. And if you look at most business owners, they've got a system for success to winning their business. They've got a system for marketing, for sales, for delivery, for customer success, ops and admin. Yet if you look at their personal life, there's areas they've neglected: relationships, their fitness, their health, their hobbies, simply because they haven't got a system for their personal life.
If we're to have a think of, we fill a boardroom, right? 40 to 50 people, sold out for what, over a year?
Yeah.
So if you're to think of the most common person that we get that comes along, what do you reckon the biggest challenges they're having are personally?
Well, you go, business owner, doing really well, busy in their business, but just neglecting their health, their happiness, their family, their hobbies, winning in business, but not winning in the same capacity in life, yet knowing that they can, but just lacking a system to do it.
Yeah, it's like I was chatting with one of our gents the other day, and they're doing a couple $1 million in their business, good profit. But when I asked about his own net asset position, had no idea.
Yeah.
No structure, etc. So out of all of our areas, there's obviously 80 that we cover. What do you reckon is neglected the most?
If I'm to answer that honestly, I think the one that's neglected the most is probably R&R, like having a break, having time for happiness, to hobbies, probably shirts off mum in terms of looking after their own health from both the training perspective and nutrition perspective. It just gets put on the back burner. And again, common theme, systems in business.
Yeah.
No systems in life for them to win in that area. As we always say, like, you don't rise to your goals, you fall to your systems. But if there's not a system developed, you're not going to do very well in that particular area. For context, for anyone listening, we probably had 50, 60 business owners in the room, all, 7 figures plus. And one of the biggest thing was from the R&R department, people just hadn't booked a holiday. And it's as simple as like having a system to always be looking forward to your next holiday, always be looking forward to something. So you work hard, then you actually have rest factored in. Yeah. And for most of that room, when we ask them and we're throwing it out there to them, like, why haven't you done it? It's, I feel guilty. I feel like I'm stepping away from the business, which is a couple of things, at the core level. Maybe there's not the systems in the business that are being built that allow them to do that. Or number two, they just simply haven't booked it because they don't want to step away. They feel guilty, which, ironically, when they do, they come back and they're sharper and bring more of a 10 out of 10 version of them as opposed to a 3.
For sure. I remember our conversation end of 2025 when we're planning all of our events. Was one of the best conversations I had my whole entire year. Because we have so much going on this year, it forced us to plan everything.
Yeah.
So even though we had our own system, it wasn't until shit got crazy and we had something on pretty much most weekends that we had to be so planned with it.
Yeah.
And it was a great lesson to me, because something I took away is I'm never going to enter another year until I have all my holidays planned.
Yeah.
Maybe the odd sporadic one that pops up, all good, but I'll never enter another year until all my holidays are planned in advance.
Yeah.
Because even now, I felt they're like positive checkpoints.
Yeah.
Something I'm looking forward to, I'm working towards because it's not too far away.
Yeah.
Rather than being in the mindset of, oh, God, I need a holiday.
Yeah.
What about our 8 areas? Can you give me a quick overview on each one, a little bit about what they mean?
The way we look at it, right, is every CEO of every company has a system for success.
Yeah.
To win in business, but they just lack it in life. So we still take the same principle. You're the CEO of your business and life, and you manage 8 key areas. And when you're winning in each of the key areas, typically you're winning across business and life. So shirts off club, or as we call it, SOC, it's the health, like the health and fitness side of things. Now, obviously there's the visible component of shirts off and looking great with your shirt off, but also the internal side of how's your blood work, how's your energy, are you eating well? Is your body functioning the way that you want it to? And think about how many boardrooms we've sat in, and there's people who are 40 years old, but whose body is behaving like an 80-year-old. They can't touch their toes. They can't run. They've just got an acceptance mentality of I'm 40, which really is fucking stupid. Because if you put some attention on it, you can be 40 and feel like you're in your 20s.
100%.
So there's the visible, invisible side of SOC. We got R&R, which is really about as you sprint intensely, you're working hard on core projects, business, hitting numbers, balancing your stress to recovery ratios, managing your battery, looking after yourself, as we spoke about, always having a holiday to look forward to. And one thing we've noticed with all of our members is when you sprint intensely, but you've got something that you look forward to, fuck, you sprint so much harder.
Yeah.
As opposed to just sprinting on a treadmill, not knowing where the end is. For anyone listening, we use this analogy of a battery, right? So at the top end of the battery, you've got a zone called JOFF, 80 to 100%.
And what's that stand for?
JOFF stands for just on fucking fire. It's where you feel like you can walk through brick walls, you wake up with energy, you're sleeping well, you're training well, you're on fire, and you just feel like you're in Mario Kart with a special bar on.
Yeah, Yoshi.
Yeah, like Yoshi. Working your way down, we've then got amping, which is a 60 to 80% charge, but you're feeling pretty good spiritually, mentally, emotionally, physically. Like you feel pretty good. The only level above it is JOFF. We then have OK, 40 to 60% charge. And the saying I always use is it's okay to be okay. Both you and I love working hard.
Yeah.
We love the feeling of a big day, a big week, accomplishing something great, finishing a core project, hitting a record number. I love to push my battery down to 41%. But then I've got the R&R that's planned in there, both from a daily, a weekly, a monthly, a sprint, and an annual perspective to bring that back up to JOFF. So with all of our members, every business owner, it's like you only want to get down to the bottom end of okay. Where it gets dangerous is a 20 to 40% charge, where we've got the warning lights. And examples of warning lights, like it's different for every business owner, but things like headaches, migraines, always being in a hurry, being cynical, abusing caffeine, abusing alcohol, not sleeping well, nutrition and shit, like dropping by the servo for a super sausage roll or a pie, and you should be eating better, but you're not. For some people, they'll get the sniffles. I've even seen some people, just due to the pressure and stress of work and home, physically get rashes. They're warning lights. And what's crazy is that when your car gets a warning light, you take it to the mechanic, but guys will double down and just go, fuck this, I'm just going to go twice as hard.
Yeah.
Because we're workaholics and not lifeaholics as such. So it's real crazy in the sense that guys will do that. Now, what we do is say the best time to take a break is before you're broken. So ideally okay, but when you're in the okay zone. But if the warning lights come on, it means you need to take a little bit of a rest, recharge. No one can sprint forever.
Could even be a weekend or
A weekend, could be a day, just a 10 out of 10 day.
when we'd work months at a time or for even more years at a time without taking a break, what happened each time we went away?
Yeah.
You got sick. Almost immediately you get off the plane, you feel the sniffles coming because you're at the stage where the batteries are, redlining.
Yeah.
And you go because you need it, not because you want it.
Yeah. Final part of the battery, 0 to 20% charge, is burnout, which takes you a bit to come back from.
Yeah.
And what's crazy is like if you look at a professional athlete and, being an athlete and entrepreneurship, not that different really, just your sport is business. Guys will be so proud of running on fucking empty, running on caffeine, not getting sleep and not operating from a peak state.
Yeah.
Yet, if you actually operate from a place where your battery's at 100% and operate as a 10 and operate as a highest and best self, how you operate in business, the things that happen with your team, the things that happen with your family, how you show up, the effort that you put into your work, it's just day and night. So,
And when you can do it, if it needs to happen, that's one thing.
yeah,
But living like that,
yeah.
nah.
Or we call it being the robot.
Yeah, exactly. Or the Terminator.
Or the Terminator.
Is that an X-Zero?
It's a moan. Moving on from there, we have CFO. Obviously in business, CFO is the money man. The way we look at CFO in the Mantastic framework is, if you look at the CEO, every company has a vision. You've got a vision for your life. It's all going to take paper energy or digital energy to make happen. So essentially, you're looking there, obviously, across business, revenue, profit, but not just money, also the way that you spend your time. How many business owners have we met where they've been raking it in financially, but how they spend their time both on a personal basis and within their business isn't in a way that lights them up. So there's also the happiness bank account that comes with that.
I had a chat the other day and the gentleman said to me in our program, he said, if you can just help me get more of my time back, my wife will fall in love with you and I'll never leave. So you're exactly right.
For sure, you're raking it in financially, but are you loving the way that your weeks look?
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I love about my life now. The whole week's built around the way I want to spend my time. Equally in CFO, we have team, which is meaning essentially like the people you have in your business that fit your make model, your income model, are people you want to do life with, which is something we spoke on ages ago. You got to the point where whether it's an accountant, a content team, whatever, we want cool people who want to do life with and we can have a great time. So CFO is both money bank account and happiness bank account. And then on the managed side of things, personally, is obviously if you're running a business, you're managing, essentially money that comes in, revenue for profit, and making sure that you got a profit goal, not just a revenue goal. On the personal front, it's taking from the business to make sure that that money comes back to you, your name proprietary limited, number one, so you can live a kick-ass life and do all the shit that you want to do now.
Yeah.
And then number two, as we always say, like take some of that money and put it into assets. I always say assets are make sure your ass is set for the future, and we've watched a lot of business owners who've come in, set a baseline standard of, maybe getting property a year or, a particular standard in terms of how much they draw out to put into their trust and invest, whether that's in stocks, crypto, whatever. And really, when you look at CFO from that high level, it's about getting both that make and that manage model happening, and really, money's flying both ways. So being the CFO of your life, we find a lot of people have done it in business, but just neglected the personal aspect.
And often when they're making more money in business, they just go spend it on random shit.
Yeah.
Because there's no system.
Yeah. And we've just seen heaps of people who've, they are spending it on random shit. They haven't got a good accountant. They haven't got structured meetings with their accountant. They're not sitting down with their accountant chatting about their personal wealth creation goals, where they want their company to be in 12 months, the enterprise value, what they want to draw out, and what they're going to do with that money. They're just cruising through life.
Out of 10 people that we have come and join Mantastic, how many of those ask us for your accountant referral?
Yeah, it's for any accountants listening and who want to up their game, it would be 80 to 90% plus. Pretty well on this year.
I think a lot of them are used to just getting by with their accountant.
Yeah.
Right, for me, and I know you're the same, even though we have different accountants, that's been a huge part of my success.
Yeah, well, most people are just reactively meeting with their accountant at the end of the year as opposed to proactively planning what they're wanting to do. But you want to take the realms of CFO, because if you're a good CFO, right, like the house you want to live in, the car that you want to drive, the places you want to holiday, the school that you want to send your kids to, everything you want to do in life takes money. And that means planning. So you've got to be not only the CEO of your life, but also the CFO. And sometimes we do it in business, but not in life. Sometimes we don't do it in business and not do it in life. We've seen everything.
Yeah, the old revenue is vanity and profit is sanity.
Yeah. And we've seen that heaps of times as well. You're in that bucket for anyone listening in. If, you keep sharing a revenue-based goal and you're working harder and you're really pushing this button, which is like chasing down profitless growth, as opposed to setting a profit goal so that you can do all the cool shit that you want to do.
And when your family.
Yeah, exactly. And on that note, something that we're really big on is doing life now. Like I'm a massive believer from a CFO point of view, for sure. You can dollar cost into the market monthly, buy a low cost index fund, let time do its thing. But the way we always look at it is, you probably wouldn't trade lives with Warren Buffett. You probably wouldn't trade to be his age with the billions of dollars and he gets to be your age with his knowledge, which goes to say, like, why aren't you living life now? So we're really big on winning in business gives you the capacity to win in life, and all the cool shit you want to do, if you get CFO right, gives you a lifestyle at pre-retirement where life starts to be fantastic now. It's not this future dated thing where it's like, when I remember presenting in a Canberra boardroom, and this bloke had his retirement date set in his head, and what happened is a couple of boys who were in the room said, you got to have a chat to this guy. His screensaver is 9 years, 300 days, 12 hours and 27 minutes until I retire. And I'm just thinking to myself, man, that's some fucking role that you want to be in. That's a prison of lives that you've created. So it's all going on now. So yeah, CFO is an important one.